What's up, y'all? Welcome to Two Cousins talking Mighty Morphin Power Rangers once and always.
Peace.
Yes. Now, usually we do our reviews. If you hit the play, well, before all of that, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We got content here all the time. We usually do our reviews with Jack and Rich, but we said y'all ain't coming to this one.
They're not about that life, Lawrence.
They're not about the life. And I didn't want to hear Jack talking about the texture of their costume. I can't. Not this time. And I don't want to hear Rich going, it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
No, this is for us by us. Dude, we were blessed 30 years to have a reunion show of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that debuted on Netflix in April 19th. Man,
Look. It, it gave me all the feels, right?
all the feel. Well, spoiler alert. We're just gonna jump into this. So if y'all, there's no spoiler free review. We just
No,
jumping in. Just
no.
jump in.
So here's how I felt. I didn't need to them to make it gritty. I didn't need for them to make it hyper realistic. You know,
Mm-hmm.
high definition. We Lawrence, you and I, because you and I had multiple Power Rangers conversations, and I recently got into some of the newer Power Rangers seasons, and I've
Oh,
always said that high definition is not always a benefit to Power Rangers.
yeah.
But with this, I took that as kind of, to quote Jack, the texture, right? I want to feel like this was 1993. I wanted to feel like this was after school. I wanted to feel like I was watching Mighty Morphin Power Rangers on Fox 5.
Did you feel that way?
And I felt that way.
And if that's not the freaking like, there's a lot of, and we'll get into this the episode, but there's a lot of people I saw on Instagram giving this a bad review, and it kind of boggled my mind because first of all, it already was way more violent and had way more depth than the series we grew up on. I mean, it's
Right.
opener. It's like I mean, it hit when when they're fighting freaking Robo Rita and Trini jumps in front of that beam. We never seen nothing like that growing up. No
No,
one died.
no, there were no consequences to Power Rangers because number one, it was a network kids TV show on Channel
Right.
5 in prime time. You know, you and I, if people are new to us, we go through Batman the Animated Series, and we talk a lot about how they pushed the boundaries with the network censors and what they were allowed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Here, it was I felt like they did a good job of towing the line of giving us real consequences, but
Yeah.
without straying away from kind of the spirit of Power Rangers. So it was good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It was something that the kids who are watching Power Rangers now identify with, and then us old heads can watch and not like feel like this is too childish. But it's Power Rangers, dude. I want to. Okay, let's just jump into the episode. But
Okay,
first, I
okay.
want to let you. I want to give you a little history, just real fast.
Please.
Just because there might have been things that didn't make sense or made sense, I don't know, for those watching. So first up, as you all know, 5 Rangers with Attitude was chosen to fight in Zordon's war against Rita. All that happens. Now, if you were like, who are those other Rangers? What was dope was I wasn't sure if they were just gonna like skip continuity. Cause I'm like, well, who's in the Green Ranger suit? And who's
Right.
the red? Cause like
It was them.
Austin St. John, Jason David Frank, and Amy Jo Johnson did not come back. But this is
No.
before Jason David Frank passed away. But they didn't come back. And I love the fact that they still made them. Those were the original Rangers in those suits, even though we didn't
Yes.
see their face.
Yes.
Because I wasn't sure what hijinks they were going to pull. And, they could have easily just said, pretend like they didn't exist or whatever if they wanted to.
Right. Right. And and I know on our podcast we've spoken about this. We talked about why Amy Jo Johnson wasn't on here, why Austin St. John wasn't on here, and come and read. They weren't approached, and that was the only thing that I felt that was missing. They had a lot of nods. I'm jumping ahead, but they had a lot of nods to other characters like Bulk and Skull and stuff like that.
Right.
But how difficult would it have been to include?
They did approach them. They said no.
Oh, that's right. Because Amy Jo Johnson said the money wasn't right.
I think she said the money, but then she kind of went back on it and was like, it's not just about the money. And Jason David Frank, I think, got just tired of being jerked around, I guess,
Yeah,
by Saban and now Hasbro. He was just like, I'm done. I'm focusing on Legends of the White Dragon.
right, right.
I'm retiring. Because Jason David Frank, I think, has been a part of almost, not all of them, but almost every reunion.
Well, he's been active in the more recent seasons.
Oh, yeah.
In Dino Fury, he's a scientist in Dino Fury. Like he's
He came back a couple of years ago in I forgot the name of the season, but it's when he revealed his master morpher and he was able to change from white to black to red. Like, so he's been doing it, but I think he was talking to them about like a Tommy Solo thing, and it's a lot of back and forth. And I guess
yeah.
he felt like he's being taken advantage of because he's so popular, but not getting. I don't know the details, but in Austin St. John, I think was arrested for something. I don't know what the
Yeah,
charges
so
were.
Austin St. John lives 2 towns away from me, and,
Yeah,
all the local papers had him in the paper, so it was just
really.
nothing it wasn't anything, it was tax stuff. It wasn't anything, sinister. It was just he got in trouble with some tax stuff
But
and
they don't want like
I guess,
their
but,
Power Rangers on the front page of any
I
newspaper with
mean,
anything.
he needs that check, try to pay Uncle Sam.
Listen, but it was cool that they still found a way to include them.
They
They
still
didn't
use
just
"Yo, yo, yo."
they used their old
Yes,
voices,
they did.
which was just amazing because I've seen seasons of Power Rangers where they just omit parts of history and you don't watch it looking for history, but here it being a reunion show of Mighty Morphin, it's like how do you get around it? So they did. So basically, in the original series, Austin St. John, Twee Trang, and Walter Jones left the show because they wanted to be paid as union actors. They got tired of making below minimum wage,
Right,
and the show just canned them. You know, they were getting ready to do the movie. All that stuff's gonna be shot at the same time, and they were gonna make nothing while the show's making $1 billion off of marketing and franchising.
right.
So they left and they brought the three new Rangers in. That's why you have freaking Rocky
Yep,
coming in. And then you saw Adam. He's the one that replaced Walter. He was the one in space, which is a predecessor to the SPD season. And then you had so they joined in, and then Amy Jo Johnson wanted to leave the show. She was done, but they actually had a send off for Kimberly. She went to go do the gymnastics, the Olympics or something.
right.
And then Kat, who was on, who was bad, takes over for her. So it's kind of cool. They got them all back. And if you guys are stopped watching after season one and you're wondering who are all these new people,
Right,
that's how they get brought in. Now in Zeo, Chris, Power Rangers Zeo, Billy is kind of like he's like Oracle, like
right,
Batgirl. Like he's not an active ranger. Well, David Yost was getting bullied for being gay. He doesn't say by who. I don't think it was the actors. He wound up walking off the show. So they wrote that Billy aged and had to go to Aquitar, where you saw the Alien Rangers, to get the cure. And then he stayed there because he fell in love with the Alien Ranger. So that's where he's been this whole time.
right.
So that's why they mentioned in the show, are you going back to Aquitar? She misses you.
Yep.
Just nods to where he's been. Um, and one last thing, and then we'll get started. Zordon in Power Rangers in Space, Zordon was held captive by the bad guys. And Andros, the Red Ranger, Zordon said, you have to destroy my tube. He destroys the tube, pretty much killing Zordon, but a wave of good energy goes out through all the universe, turning everything bad good. So you see Rita turn to a regular person, Lord Zed turn to a regular person. They built this so as a finale Power Rangers, period, because they wasn't sure if
Right.
they was going to do well. In Space turned out to be one of the best seasons they ever made. So then, of course, they got more seasons. That being said, Rita Repulsa turned good. So in Power Rangers Mystic Force, she's like their Zordon.
Wow.
So when we're watching this, we learn that when Billy's trying to bring Zordon back, that bad energy, it implies that you cured Rita's body and soul,
But
but
her
that bad energy is
is
still in
still
the
out there.
universe, and it just needed a body to be in. So it's actually all connecting. And Adam, the Power Rangers lost their Dino coins. They got destroyed. Adam tried to use it in Power Rangers Space to help another Black Ranger that almost killed him. So somewhere between that and now, Billy was able to restore the Dino coins. So, whew,
Whew. Whew, they went deep,
Look,
deep in the
some,
lore.
some of this stuff can look like it's just happenstance. So I'm like, no, they actually did their due diligence. The only thing that doesn't make sense all the way is the fact that Tommy has access to all his powers.
Yeah,
So they didn't negate that, but they didn't show that. So it is what it is. And I imagine that once Rita came back, Billy had to find a way to restore their powers. They might, in my mind, they were all retired and chilling, and then Rita came back, and it's like I got to get the team back together again. That's kind of how I
yeah.
headcanoned it.
So that's kind of. I would have liked it if they would have gotten into the lore in the beginning because we open up the special with Billy morphing, fighting putties, and we see Rita, and they don't give us
None of that.
none of that. Yeah, they don't give us any background information. So I kind of wish they would have gone back a little bit further and kind
Mhm.
of explain stuff a little bit more. Then we jump to kind of like what's going on now. But
Yeah,
you know, you have an hour. They chose to do this in an hour format. So I guess in kind of trying to squeeze, there's a lot going on in this 55 minutes.
and a lot of talking and a lot of drama, which I enjoyed. So
Yep.
it's like you have to navigate it. And they pulled the MCU. There's like, no, we're not going to give you a recap. Go watch the
Oh,
15 movies and then
exactly.
come back.
Exactly.
But I
Exactly.
appreciated that they did honor it to a degree. And there's just and then in other seasons, Jason's come back a couple times. He came back in Beast Morphers as Red Ranger. So they imply like not all the Power Ranger seasons are occupied. It's a multiverse.
Right.
They're not all on the same universe. So it's all continuity, but it's all not continuity, if that
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
I get that. I get that.
Um, all right, so that's your little recap. So, yo, we're in this freaking battle. I'm so happy that it's not a park in Angel Grove, Chris. Although as a kid, I didn't care, but it's like all they do is fight in these playgrounds.
Exactly. It's the most dangerous place in Angel Grove. Stay
Yo,
away from the playgrounds.
the beach and the playgrounds.
Oh man,
Um,
it was
and
a
they're
dope shot
fighting.
though. The cliff. It was a
Beautiful.
right.
Shot so well. And like this is different than anything that came before because they didn't have any Japanese footage to pull from. This is all original footage.
Right. Right.
Mad expensive. Probably the most expensive
Absolutely.
television version of Power
So,
Rangers.
so let me give you my first big like goosebump moment.
Uh-huh.
So we have Billy. He morphs. He's fighting. Trini sacrifices herself.
Oh,
No, wait, no. Before that, they're fighting. Rita comes back, and then you see all the Rangers running, and out of nowhere, big explosion.
it's gotta happen.
It's got. When I saw that, I'm like,
Oh,
we're good. We're good. The
ah.
only thing they missed for me, which I missed, was the sparks coming from the chest.
I thought about that. There was
Yeah.
no sparks on even at all.
No, there wasn't. There wasn't. So
Um,
I like that
which I think is probably more of a
Japanese.
Japanese Sentai footage thing, and they didn't have because that probably takes a lot of time, a lot of spare stunt suits.
Yeah.
I don't know. What I really enjoyed was, like I said, I didn't know much about this going in. I didn't know how much they were going to stick to it. I didn't know if that was going to be Rocky and Catherine in the suits in the beginning.
Right.
But when I heard the old footage and hear Kimberly and Tom, I'm
Yes.
like, thank
And
you for that.
and that's what we needed, right? This is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So we
Yes.
need the Mighty Morphin Power
Because
Rangers.
they could have easily been like, "Oh, those Rangers been retired for years,"
Right.
and but they said, "No, we're gonna give. It's a reunion. We're gonna give it to you the best we can,
Right.
dude." And then and then hearing Trini's voice.
Yeah.
Oh man, and then she gets vaporized, dude.
She has a rough death. She,
Like for power for anything, but for Power Rangers,
and that's kind of the thing is that you're coming from a series where there's really no permanent consequences, right?
right?
So this opening up and she saves Billy's life, sacrifices herself, and she blows up. Boom, gone.
Gone. And like they have been Power Rangers for 30 years off and on and have never seen this before.
No. And
ever seen this.
even Rita makes a comment about it, like, "This is the first time I'm able to, like, kill a Power Ranger," or something like that. It's
It's
like,
like, dude.
it got real.
And they're all on the cliff, and you got freaking Zach and Billy take off their helmets. And of course, that's a moment where you would wanted all of them to,
Of course.
but we knew he wasn't getting that. But you still had that moment with all the Rangers just mourning, and then them dealing like we got to tell our daughter, like they have a family, they have kids.
I mean, they grew up.
Freaking Zach is a congressman. We
Yep.
learn
Billy's the Elon Musk of Angel Grove.
he really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and they decided to tell Trini's daughter.
Shoot, first of all, the girl who played Trini Door, she's the most gangster one in this whole freaking
She's a
show.
sick martial
She
artist.
is, right? When she was with the sticks, like, I was like,
And then she
"Ooh."
just put her foot up and was
Yep.
like, I'm gonna keep it here. I'm
Yep.
like, give her a series, please.
Yes.
Somebody.
Yes. This has to go somewhere, and she needs a recurring role because
Dude, she and just a wonderful actress. And I can imagine how fast they shoot, the speed in which they have to do things. They probably shot this in a short amount of time, and for her to come in and like honestly, she wasn't alive when this was on television, Chris.
yes, get
I
old.
mean, how old are we? We looking at her and we're like, oh, look at that kid. It's like, no, she's the age the Power Rangers were when we were watching.
She's a teenager with attitude.
Finally,
Yeah.
because they didn't really have much attitude. I guess
No.
Tommy did, but they didn't have much attitude.
She
She
did.
has
She was gangster.
attitude.
She was about that life.
And Zach and Billy are pretty much arguing. We got to tell her. We got to tell her, and they choose to tell her. And we flash forward a year later.
Yep.
Zach moves in, Uncle Zach, and she's just training to be a ranger because she wants revenge.
She gives me like Kill Bill vibes almost, like just like
Yeah,
yeah.
which is we don't in the original series. Maybe in the later seasons they dealt with it, but in the original series, it's like you guys need to learn how to work as a team. Oh, you're right. We never dealt with vengeance.
Right.
You know, and she's like she wants vengeance, and it's the 1 year anniversary of Trini's passing, and they go into the cemetery, and it's kind of like weird and meta, man, because when Twee passed away in 2001, they might have had an in memory episode, but there was no tribute.
Right.
There was no like thing for real, and it was very meta, especially with Jason David Frank's passing too. Just the whole idea of death around this.
Yeah, that the
Man.
consequences are real, and these are real people, and it's. I liken it to kind of like Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of
Yeah.
that thing where it's a storyline, it's a fictional storyline, but it reflects kind of real life.
Absolutely.
So
And I mean, what's a hero without sacrifice?
right,
I mean, you can all fight, save the world, go to a juice bar and chill, but like it hits the fan. It has to hit the fan.
it does.
And they get there, and the Green Ranger, Pink Ranger, and Red Ranger's already morphed, fighting the Snizzard and some other robotic
And
monster.
the Minotaur guy,
Yeah.
I forgot his name, but I remember him. He was from the original series, right? Both of those guys.
I think they both were, and they were like upgraded to robotics.
Yeah.
And then Billy and Zach jump in and like, you need to stay here, little one. Let us
Right.
handle this business.
Right.
And I loved it. They got Tommy, Jason, and Kimberly justifiably out of the way.
So I like that too, because now I'm not questioning, because I know that's Jason, but I know that's not Jason, right?
Right.
So now doing this gives me plausible deniability. Like, okay, he's shrunken down, they're trapped, and now I can just focus on Billy and Zach and not have to be questioning like, who is this really? Is this
Mm-hmm.
So it was
they
good.
weren't just taken out in some. Of course, you got to find a way to get rid of them, kind of like Captain Marvel, because she's so cool. It was like, no, you're trapping them and using their power to harness your device. Like them being trapped is playing a part in this story.
Right. It had significance to what's going on.
Significance, and it also, Power Rangers be morphed and unmorphed. It's like, why would you ever fight these unmorphed? But here, it's like if we morph, they can track us. So it was viable why they weren't morphed all the time.
Right. So can we talk about the putties and how the
They look,
putties stepped the game. They would throw the putties would throw that girl off the freaking roof.
yo, the putties was actually like
The
a
putties,
problem. They weren't just
yes,
like terrorizing Boku. So
yeah,
they were like, no, we're out to kill you.
yeah.
And
No, we're here. We're killing people.
later on with Trini's daughter, like they gave her the business in that they like slammed her on the countertop and threw her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dude, these putties. And then we learned that we go to the not the command center, like Cranston Industries or whatever it's called.
Right, right.
I love that, and the fact that he's named after Bryan Cranston, which is pretty cool. Breaking Bad,
That is cool.
because he played a monster in the original series or voiced one anyway.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember hearing that.
So they're there, and underneath his industries is where they do work, and that's where we pretty much learn that Billy was trying to find Zordon. Like his energy was scattered. If he can find a way to bring him back, and he brings Rita back, and pretty much it's the death of Alpha as well.
Yes. So it's funny because so when correct me if I'm wrong. In the original series, we had Alpha 5. Wasn't it Alpha 5?
Alpha 5, and then somewhere in Power Rangers Turbo, you had Alpha 6, and then some other stuff might have happened.
Right. So
That's
when Billy was talking to Alpha, he specifically referred to Alpha as Alpha 8.
right.
And once we see this is the flashback, and once we see the new Alpha, that's Alpha 9. So Rita comes back, takes over, inhabits Alpha 8's body, and that's how we get Robot Rita, which was
So
cool.
that's Alpha.
That's Alpha.
That's dude. It hits.
It
And
does.
he doesn't come back after they destroy Rita.
No,
Alpha 8's just gone.
done. Done.
And of course, Trini's daughter blames Billy. If he never did that, he would have never brought Rita back.
Right.
And to me, that flashback, it was Billy was so casual in the command center. It just gave me the feeling like the Rangers are retired.
Right.
They're not active Rangers. Rita comes back, and he calls the original squad.
See, and that's kind of what I was saying. That's where we open the show, right?
Yeah.
Them coming back out of retirement. I would like to see a little bit more history behind that, kind of what they're up to now, what they're doing
Maybe
now.
if they had freaking Austin
Everyone.
St. John,
Yeah,
they could have gave you, because they kind of they only can give you them morphs. So like maybe if they came back, they could have had a moment of them getting the call or something.
You're probably because we do get that when they call Kat and Rocky. We see
Yes.
Kat, Kat is with JJ, aka Tommy Jr.
Last appearance, I forget the name of the season, but it pretty much is what solidified it's a big multiverse. He had like Rangers from everywhere. And Rocky and Catherine and a bunch of other Rangers for other seasons were all kidnapped and being used to make like clones of them. So they first established that Tommy and Catherine are married and do have a kid in that series, which is I like that, man.
I mean, I like that too.
I was wondering if they were going to play into that, because when she first came back, I was like, are they going to honor that nod, or are they just going to act like it didn't exist? And every time she looked, she's like, Tommy. She said Tommy.
And then she said that, and then they mentioned about how we know we're not ready to tell JJ what's going on with his father.
Yeah, dude, like I'm with this, man.
Yes, man. Yes.
So yeah, they put out that distress signal, and yeah, I mean they're not the B team by no means, but they're not the first call Rangers.
Right.
So you get Rocky, who took over from Jason, and you get Catherine, who took over from Kimberly. And then when we see they reach out to freaking Adam and Aisha in space, we get to see the Yellow Ranger that took over from Trini and the Black. So like, this is the first time Walter Jones has been on set with these other Rangers that were part of Mighty Morphin.
Right.
It's kind of wild to see him and freaking Adam in the same scene. It's like because he was off the show at that point.
Right.
He was gone. So that was dope. And then, they got to get back to action. Like Putties is attacking. It's Chris. Chris.
Let me see that Morphin.
Chris, I've been waiting all day for this. They said it's Morphin time, Chris. They said it's Morphin time.
Yes. Oh man, you know
Come
what?
on.
No matter how old I get, when they call it, and they say it, and then they go in the order. It's always gonna be magic. It's
Dude.
always gonna be magic.
Now this is an area where I would say the super high definition didn't help. The Pretty much our background here, the Morphin sequence logo,
Yeah,
it was so clean, it looked too Photoshop and pieced together.
yeah,
Whereas the original series, it's so standard def that it just works.
works.
It
Right,
just all
right.
blends.
And it's funny because that's what I thought when you're watching the putties and I'm seeing zippers on the back of the boots and seeing this stuff. It's like,
Yeah. Some of it's the charm.
yeah,
Some of it's
and that's how I took it. That's how I took it. I took it as they shot it and they did it as if this was as this was a continuation of 1993.
right.
And you,
But their suits were updated. I don't know if you noticed.
I saw the collar and stuff like that, and like
The diamonds are like patent leather or something on
yeah,
top of the spin, like little, because the American Power Ranger suits looked terrible. The Japanese version they cut to, chef's kiss.
right.
Freaking shiny spandex, perfectly fitted. Cut to American, why so baggy? So they're fighting in these streets and they're doing things that we never they barely did this in the series, was actually use their blade blasters as guns.
Yes.
They didn't do that much in the series. They
No,
would
that's right.
like
Rocky rolled up and just blasted the freaking
pop,
putty.
pop, 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 pop.
All
Like,
right.
wait, so y'all could have done this whole time. It's so much easier.
Right.
It's so much easier than trying to
Right.
use freaking daggers. Just start shooting all of them. But no, Fox Kids, like we talked about that with Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
Like there's certain gunplay like that was not allowed.
Right.
And they're fighting, and that's when they they realize they got to demorph because they're being tracked and they can be taken to. And it's really great to see the group together again. That's when Putty just throws Homegirl off the freaking
And
roof.
then Rocky grabs her like,
Gah!
yep.
We get to see the extent of their powers. Like they're not just because they're already sick martial artists unmorphed, and sometimes they'll fight monsters unmorphed. And you're like, so what's the difference? That's the
right.
difference.
This gave you a bigger distinction between morphed and unmorphed.
Yeah.
And you know
yeah.
who we see that with? We see that with Trini's daughter.
Oh, because she's sick, but
she's trying to morph. So she finds the morpher. She when the players are attacking, she's like, I'm gonna go, and we think this is when we're gonna see her morph. She has it.
Saber-tooth tiger.
Yep. Nothing happens.
Which was awesome.
Yes.
Because they made you wait for it. But then like when Zordon gave them the coins, and then when the original three transferred their powers, it was a little bit more to you. Anyone could just pick this up and use it.
Right.
There has to be some sort of connection you're given or have to the morphing grid. You can't just
grab more from Be a Ranger.
Right. Although, tell that to my 10-year-old self, Chris.
Look, our 10-year-old selves know that when we're in the backyard and we're
Dude.
back to back,
we didn't even have any toys. We were just like this. We didn't have nothing.
That's it. Just fight.
Just
Fight
imagination.
the imaginary putties. That's it.
So then they regroup, and then they hit like that distress call because putties finally they did the thing that I'm like, why did you keep just sending putties to Angel Grove? Like send them all over the place.
Yep.
They do all over the world, and they hit a distress call. And at first I wasn't sure. This is before that fight. This is before Rocky and them come in, but I wasn't sure if is it a distress call to like all active Rangers or just to these three. I wasn't sure until later.
Yeah, I know. I interpret it as all active Rangers. And these are the ones that were able to respond. That they were
close. And then, but later we see how many other Rangers she was able to capture.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh, so around the world,
right?
People were grabbing their morphers and jumping back in.
Because now, did you pause it and go through and see all the other Rangers that were captured? Because I saw Zeo, I saw Dino Force, I saw.
I think In Space was there.
Yeah, there was SPD there.
Maybe RPM.
Maybe
the one that Phantom Ranger. I mean, because if they're keeping with their continuity with the multiverse, not every season takes place on the same Earth.
Right.
So, like, there's certain seasons that shouldn't be able to show up.
Right.
Although Beast Morphers, I think, was there, and they're in a different. I don't know. Don't pull the thread too hard.
No, no. All I know is that they were able to reference the other seasons, and we saw all the Rangers. We saw a bunch of Rangers from different seasons that were captured. So we're
Yeah.
assuming that Rita actually has a plan that's not just, oh, I'm going to take over the world. She's gonna use her putties, draw out Rangers, and capture the Rangers. This is the plan, right? This is they created a
Yes.
version, and this is the plan, and her plan is working.
And Billy, for the smartest guy in the world, he's not the smartest guy in the world because you know that she draws power from Power Rangers. And I know you had no choice but to deploy Rangers because all the putties, but by doing so, she's able to finish her machine without them.
Right,
So like he put a ticking clock on his ability, and they didn't even really know what she was powering, but he
right.
knew that he was drawing power from them. So then, yes, freaking Trini's daughter goes to the juice bar. The juice bar,
The juice
Chris.
bar, the juice
The
bar.
freaking juice bar. She's in there fighting, not doing well.
No,
Looks great though. She's
it does.
killing it. She's
It
just not
does.
landing anything and getting
It,
beat up. And then that's when freaking Rocky and Zach show up. And okay, can we talk about Walter Jones, please?
let's talk about Walter Jones.
Because I leaned in to see if I can tell. Dude, hip hop keto. And she's like, "Are you breakdance fighting? Put some respect on his
Come
name,
on, man.
please."
Come on, man.
But I looked so closely to see if I can tell if a stunt double came in. Dude, Walter Jones did the backflip. He did the splits. He did the martial arts.
So if you look at Walter Jones when he's out of a suit and not dressed up, he's still in shape. And when I saw him a couple years ago at Comic Con, he's still in shape. So he's been keeping up with
Dude.
himself.
And Rocky, he's an accomplished martial artist as well. But I wasn't sure if they was gonna do like the backflips and stuff. I'm like, they're probably gonna reserve, but you can probably tell a stunt double in that wig. It's a very
It's
specific
true.
haircut.
It's true. It's true.
It was just great to see them fighting putties, unmorphed in the juice bar. Sebastian!
Okay, we'll be back for he's a four. He's the fourth brother. That's what he
he
told
is the fourth brother. Um,
me. Okay, not this is just hard tonight. We'll be. I'll call you a little bit later. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
so Zach scolds, his niece.
Yeah.
And she's kind of like whatever. And they gotta go. They gotta
Yep.
go save the world. They found the moon base. Zach has the dopest line.
Go ahead.
He's like, we saved the world before. like it's cold as ice.
Yep, it is.
What about to say?
Here's my problem. Okay,
Oh, you got a problem.
is there air on the moon base?
No.
No, there's not.
And
There's not. There's not.
And it's not like closed doors on the base. It's not like
Yeah,
closed doors where
it's
obviously
open. I mean, there's an open balcony that she chills
I
on.
never freaking thought about that until you just ruined my childhood right now.
I'm okay with Rita not breathing, the monster not breathing, but I don't understand. So they have these. So the plan is they're gonna trap the monsters using an electromagnet. I'm with it. Then they're gonna take these things that isolate them, essentially make them one time use makes them invisible, and then they're gonna sneak onto Rita's moon base.
Unmorphed. I guess they couldn't be morphed because they
Well, they could have been morphed because they
they
trapped
captured the guy that tracks them.
because if they would have been morphed, I'm like, okay, they have their suits protect them, but they roll in raw dog, just unmorphed.
Raw dog. Let me add some headcanon in here.
Okay,
Some
go ahead.
justification. I'm creating a narrative. Rita is still Alpha 5 or Alpha 8.
Right.
So maybe even though she can't track them, she'd be able to detect them
Okay.
morphed.
Okay.
Even if they're invisible, she can sense that there's something's here. Can we go with? I don't know why they can breathe, but that's why they're unmorphed.
Okay, I'm okay with it being unmorphed, but they could have gotten unmorphed with like a suit or something.
Look at breathing, at least a little breathing, a little fake mask.
Something.
I didn't think about that. Teachers ruined my childhood. Thank you, Chris. They're there, and Rita's plan is amazing. I'm gonna go back in time, pretty much mentor my younger self, and she says these words: "Kill you in your sleep
Yep.
before Zordon recruits you." Not back in the day, "I will destroy you," or
No, I'm gonna.
"I kill you in your sleep."
Yep.
And it's it's the same actress that did the Rita voice before, so it's just like it just hits.
Yep.
And the machine's powered, and then we get a shot of time to take over the world. Like it's
Yes.
like I'm like it's
It
1993,
is. It is.
literally. And the Power Rangers like are fighting the putties and freaking. They're not more. Are they still unmorphed?
No, so yeah, so they yeah, they're unmorphed, and then Rita goes to kill Billy
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
And then Billy's daughter is like,
No.
no. Gets
Now
hit,
I was about to call all the flags on the play because how did she take that hit when Trini was vaporized? But it
but
hit the morpher.
it hit the morpher because then you see the morpher glowing under her shirt, and it stopped this.
And in that, this is where it gets Disney, and I love it. In that selfless act, in that moment of not about vengeance, just out of straight up being heroic, her heart was able to accept the saber-toothed tiger dino clone. And then gets a flashback of like Trini's memories.
Yes.
Now, in the Boom Studios comic books, there's these entities called the Morphing Masters. They're like these gods who are like created or shepherd the morphing grid. You kind of learn like there's a mysticism to this grid. It's not just science, it's not just technology. It's almost alive.
Right.
So the fact that she saw Trini's memories, it's almost like her spirit. That might be the heaven for Power Rangers. That's
Right.
where they go to rest.
Right.
And so she got to see her mom in active duty. And then she says it's morphin time. Like
Yes.
every Jason was a jerk because he like said, I'm the only one that's gonna say it.
No one says it but me.
And then Tommy was like, nah, no one's gonna say it but me. Here we got Zach saying it, we got Billy saying it, and we got Trini's little daughter saying it. It's morphin time. They do it in sequence. Mastodon,
Yep.
Triceratops, Pterodactyl, Saber-tooth Tigersaurus.
Tyrannosaurus. Yep. Yep.
Shoom. And they fight, and it's violent. Like she hit her
She
daggers,
just
she
stopped.
stabs like clunk. I'm like,
That's okay.
I don't remember that.
Okay. And then Billy.
While Rita's back was turned, through her back, through her chest, you
Yes.
see the lens come out. I'm like,
Yep.
that was not when I was a kid.
Nope. Nope.
Um, but it doesn't kill Rita.
No. We think it does, but we're like,
I will make my monster
to
grow.
grow.
Well, first she throws him out. Like, what are you doing? Why are you throwing me? And she makes him grow. And they call on Dino Zord power. Bit of trivia, Chris. It is the first time that Rocky and Catherine have ever been in the Dino Zords. Because if you remember in season 2, Power Rangers got the Thunder Zords, the new Zords.
Yep.
So the new Rangers never were in the Dino Zords. Only lasted a season and a half. They weren't on Power Rangers for a long time.
Yeah.
They go into Dino Zords. It was so weird to see Billy sitting in the front.
Right? Controlling it.
I'm like, it's dope. But I'm like, that's what the red. Get out of there, Billy. The red one sits there.
Exactly. No place for blue.
And honestly, that's part of why the silver lining of Austin St. John, Jason David Frank, and Amy Jo Johnson not coming back. Because if they did, Zach and Billy would not be the leads of this reunion.
Right.
At all. They take a back seat. And it's really cool to see these two, especially Billy, take that leadership position.
Yeah.
So that's the silver lining. It's like we've seen Jason David Frank, may he rest in peace, come back and lead several reunions.
Right.
We've seen Austin St. John. He came back as the Gold Ranger, and then freaking Forever Red, and then another one where he kind of got to be the leader. Amy Jo Johnson just wasn't any part of it like that, so that's fine. But we've never got to see Billy and Zach take these like buddy cop positions, man.
Right.
So I'm really happy that it worked out the way it did. That's the silver lining here. And you got freaking Trini and not Trini's daughter and some of they're still fighting on the moon base. They eventually jump in the Dino Zord.
Yep.
Get that sword.
Yep.
And hack them. Like it didn't feel like monsters or things were being destroyed. It felt like they were being killed here.
Yeah, they were because they
Like
were
they were
getting
being
stabbed.
killed and
Yep.
stabbed.
Yeah, they were, and I liked it. You know what I wish they kind of played the music a little bit, but I could have used the theme song in the background when they were destroying the monster.
You know, I was wondering if it's a licensing thing
But
because a lot of the old
they played a version of it.
right, but like, do we get lyrics?
No, we didn't.
So I wonder if the I wonder if the lyric. I don't know because there's a lot of great songs and there's an extended Power Rangers song that's really good that leads into the main intro. But I wonder if they'd have to pay royalties on top of that for using the words.
Maybe, but didn't they use it at the end? Oh, they didn't use it. They didn't use the words. They just used the tune.
I gotta go back.
Huh.
Um,
But yeah, I mean the stuff I'm nitpicking about is very minimal, right? Like so, I could have. I like the battle. I wish they had the theme song, but it was still cool to see him, blow up and stuff like
dude,
that. And get stabbed. It was cool. It was cool.
and it gave you. It was a reunion show. It was a superhero origin story.
Yep.
I mean, it's the new Yellow Rangers story. And then, as every good Power Ranger episode concludes, we're in the freaking juice bar.
We are.
Well, but before that, we got to see Adam and Aisha touch base and
Wait,
basically.
we're jumping ahead a little bit. So
My bad,
okay,
my bad.
yeah. So we blow up the snake guy. Then they go back. They fight the Minotaur guy. Or did they destroy the Minotaur guy first? Yes, they did.
No, freaking Red Ranger like stabs him in the chest with a sword.
So as dope as that was, you know what I wish they would have done? I
Mm,
wish they would have came
put them
together
together.
and brought the weapons together.
Bring the weapons together.
That's what we were missing.
I was waiting for that. I was
Yeah,
like, put them weapons together.
right.
But still, him being freaking stabbed through the chest.
Stabbed him with the sword. Like, all right, so we get
Whoa.
down now?
Light work. Light work.
Yep.
And then we're at the command center and basically learn that all the Rangers are being transported to Aquatar, whatever, or in the spaceship for
For
healing
healing.
and observation,
Yep.
which is another great reason not to show
Right.
our core three. It's like you don't just get shrunken down to size and have your energy zapped from your
And
body.
I like that. I like that because realistically, when I say realistically, but if you're shrunken by an evil space witch, you're not going to be the second she's destroyed. You're not going to be back to normal. There's going to be
Mhm.
rehab that goes along with that, I assume. So
I think in the original series, no.
right,
In the original
right,
series, you're fine. Here, it's like no, you need to recoup.
right.
And it was just really good seeing the OG Rangers and the sort of OG Rangers. And now we're at the juice bar, and
They reference
Billy and
Ernie.
because he passed away, the actor passed away, but they still give him a nod. Like I wonder if they still got his original recipe, just
Yeah,
everything. The
yeah.
Vulcan like I think you mentioned the Vulcan stole freaking banner. I was hoping they was gonna pop
Me
in.
too. I heard
Like,
the
oh, give me some, and they probably would have, I
yeah.
imagine.
I mean, they've been in a lot of seasons going
And
forward.
they've come back and been in some reunions.
Yeah,
Um, they came back in one season where you see like Skull turned into like this.
scientists, right, or something like that.
I forget what he was super successful
Yeah,
and like was in a limo, and it was really cool to see that. Yeah, he did well after high school, and then Trini's daughter forgives Billy and pretty much asks for is sorry too, and Zach sits down. They start telling her old stories of their mom. It's just a really cool way, man.
I remember the episode they're talking about. They talk about the episode with
Yeah, when she
yeah,
couldn't the traffic light
yeah,
turtle and she
yeah,
couldn't
yeah,
stop
yeah.
running. And I remember the episode where Trini tried to help Billy with his she was afraid of heights, but she had to get up there to help him. Because at that point in time, Billy wasn't a good martial artist. He couldn't fight unmorphed. So he was problematic unmorphed, and she was there to help him. And her style was praying mantis. And they honor just the whole Trini character throughout this whole thing, man. It was really good. And then they cut to a scene in Power Rangers OG where
Oh
Amy Jo
man,
Johnson is singing the song, and they're all sitting together, and Walter Jones joins her. Zach joins Kimberly singing, and they cut to all the Rangers. They cut to Jason David Frank.
yep.
They cut to Tweet Trang. They cut to Austin St. John. And I if that doesn't hit you in the freaking
You made
feels,
of stone. I don't want to hear it.
oh
You
my
gotta feel
gosh.
something. And if you
Then
don't, you just see a therapist.
yeah, who broke you?
Exactly, exactly.
And then you get Over Black, and then In Memory of
Yeah,
Tweet Train, Jason David Frank.
yeah,
I wasn't ready for that. I mean, I was ready for that, but I wasn't ready for that. That was it for a show that was supposed to bring back my childhood in some weird way, like not even a joking way, but like my mortality became real
man.
because
True. It's true.
they put her age on the tombstone, Trini.
90, yeah,
So
1977.
so she would have been like 45 years old.
Yeah,
So it's like you have to imagine Tommy's probably around the same age. I think Jason David Frank was 50, but let's say Tommy was 45. And it's just it's weird. It's like this meta thing.
yeah,
It's sad, but also awesome to be a part of.
yep. I agree.
Um, man, Chris, there's a reason why I'm a grown man. I'm in these streets.
Do, do,
So-
do, do, do,
Hold on, hold
do.
on. Yeah, hold on,
Yes,
dude. Just like salute him, man. What is it?
that's dope.
Man, and then I'm over here watching that joint like if I hey some back to action, Chris. Back to what
Oh,
else am I gonna
man.
give the chance to take this out? Dude. Now I will say this can't be a series.
Yeah, so that's the question: is what now, right?
I think that's it.
Well, Netflix is making a new Power Ranger series. Isn't that rumored?
It is, and I think they are. I was thinking about could this be a series following this group? And I don't know. I feel like at the end
No,
of the day, it's a kids show. It needs the Power Ranger team does need to be kids. Um,
it's a waste to not to use Trini's daughter though. So what I would like to see in a series, if Trini's daughter became one of the new Rangers, recruited other Rangers, and they kind of did a first 2 episodes as the passing of the torch, and then we have a whole new Power Ranger series.
but
And
it can't be Dino Rangers. I don't know what Netflix's plans are, but the success of Power Rangers have been to use Japanese footage,
right.
not create their own.
Well, that's because it was super efficient and super. You made money because your production costs were super low.
But that's the same way. They spent so much money on this. They don't want to do this for seasons.
No, I don't
They're,
know.
they're still making Sentai series in Japan. They still have it's still a working model. So I don't know what Netflix's plans are, but if they're not gonna break the mold, you can make it a few years later, and Trini's daughter stumbles upon new powers. But I feel like whatever Ranger series we're gonna get, if it follows suit, it's gonna be pretty similar to what we've been getting.
Yeah, yeah,
But this, I feel like this is just kind of needs to stay here. Like I don't know how this works. 10 episode season.
I don't know either. And I don't. I got the feeling that it was never intended to be to go further than it is. But I
Right.
hope that the girl who plays Trini's daughter gets a shot because
That would be great.
she
Yeah.
deserves it.
Yeah. And it's just weird because the Sentai series, every season or every other season's a brand new series. It's a full on reboot.
Right, right, right.
And it took a few years, but Saban followed suit for a couple reasons. First, because it's hard to repurpose footage after you've used it, and
Right.
it's easier just to follow whatever they're doing. But also, the more you work these actors, the more they get famous, the more you're dependent on a Jason and a Tommy, the more negotiating power they have in their contracts next
Yeah,
season. But when you're freaking getting new actors and young actors every season on like your non-union show that shoots in New Zealand or Australia, you're paying them pennies.
yeah.
And anytime, and you make it so you don't need the actors to sell the toys.
Right.
To do this is the complete opposite.
Right.
You are depending on, Walter Jones and David Yost. You are depending on their likenesses and their
Right.
celebrity. So I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't mind there being. I wouldn't mind this team coming back in future reunion specials or specials. But I don't know if we're gonna get. I don't know about a
You know
whole
what?
sequel.
I would be down. So I don't know if you ever watched uh, the Grand Tour on Amazon. It's a car show, and
Mm.
it was a car show that where they would do a special every season, right?
Uh
And it
huh.
got to be that the scripted portion and the studio portion, it just wasn't the same magic as they used to have in the old Top Gear. So all they do now is release specials a couple times a year.
I mean,
So I'll take
it
the format.
it if people watched and the numbers look good, Netflix doesn't really reveal that stuff too much. I don't see how they're not going to jump back in
I would
because
almost rather it be if we got like one or two specials a year versus a 10, than the series. Because then it's still special. They can do stuff that, crazy story arcs that have a definite that have real world consequences. So,
hmm
I don't know if I'm down to watch these guys for a full season, but I'll come back every special that they make.
and I want to because there's been some bad reviews of this, and I wonder like how much of this nostalgia. Now I'm a Power Ranger guy, so I'm not talking for myself or you, but I wonder how much of this is so much nostalgia, where it is that once in a lifetime thing that draws us. But
Mm,
if you knew you were getting it once a year, if you knew you were getting it twice a year, it losing that specialness, will that the casual nostalgia lover, will they come back? The ones that's like, yeah, I loved it as a kid. I'll check this out. Will they come back?
yeah.
Not the guy who has a dragon dagger
Right.
on the
Right.
floor.
Right.
You
Right.
know
Right.
I'm coming back.
Right.
But will the people that, shell out the money, are they coming back?
It's a good question. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm happy we got it though.
Oh, me
I
too.
wish Amy I wish they all would have came back, but hey man, you gotta handle your business. And if the money ain't right, this
That's
ain't
it.
no soup, this ain't no soup kitchen.
That's it. You deserve to be paid what you deserve to be paid.
Exactly. And they already did not get paid what they should have got paid. Can you imagine being on a hit TV series that
No.
grosses $1 billion and you're negotiating, can I buy a car? I don't know if I can buy a car. I got a budget to buy this car. How
And every
crazy is
and
that?
everyone else is getting fat off you. Yeah.
Everyone's getting fat off of you. You're in Hollywood. Everyone knows you're on a hit show, hit children's show, but you can't move like you are. You're invited places and you can't show up wearing these clothes. You can't show up in this car. And I know that all sounds superficial, but being an actor, it's not like being in business where you go up a position. Oh, you're the COO, and then you go up. There is all it is perception,
Yeah.
how much you make, and yeah, perception.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. You're right. And then I mean, I don't fault these guys for being. I mean, I would be angry if I put myself in their position and I saw Haim Saban is a freaking almost a billionaire making all this money. All these people around me are making all this money, and I'm the one who's the main character in this, and I'm struggling.
Dude.
That wouldn't sit right with me, and I don't know how long it would take me to let go of that anger.
What was crazy is Walter Jones, Tweet Chang, and Austin St. John, they weren't asking for more money. They just wanted to unionize. Because if we're a union, then you at least have to pay me scale.
Right.
If we're a union, you can't work me 20 hours. Union just creates a good, productive working environment that you can't get taken advantage of. So they
Right.
weren't going for a raise. They were just saying, can we be a union
Yeah. Can
so
we have
we can
basic
treat them?
rights?
And they got let go
Yeah.
because they were like, we're about to shoot this movie in Australia while you're shooting the show simultaneously. And the reason we can do all this stuff is because we paying you the same amount to do all this work. It's
Shit.
kind of crazy.
It's kind of crazy.
So I hope they got a payday, at least a little payday here. And I hope that the conventions and autograph signings this all generates will just give them all the freaking
I hope
credit.
so. I hope so.
Because they made my childhood, pre-teenhood freaking dope, Chris.
Me too, man. Me
Freaking
too.
dope.
Me too.
Power Rangers is great. Y'all, if y'all love this, I highly, highly suggest you jump into the Boom Studios comics.
Oh, you put me onto it.
Dude, because it
Love it.
picks up this and it's a little bit more edgy. It's a little bit more, not darker. It plays how we thought Power Rangers played when you watched it as you're a kid. It
Yeah.
has the stakes that you thought it had,
Right. Exactly.
but it's still the same characters. It's still the same charm, and it goes in. I would say if you love this and you're jonesing for this team, go get the Boom Studios comics.
Absolutely. And then there's a game, Battle for the Grid. I think it's
Mm.
free, and it actually picks up on the storyline from Boom Studios, which is
With
kind of cool.
Lord
Lord
Draken,
Racket. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Evil Tommy, and the most
Super
evil he's
evil
ever
time.
been,
Yes.
dude. And that's how much Jason David Frank was down for this. Like he shot a promo teaser for that game as Lord Draken
That's
in
cool.
the Lord Draken suit. So he was just got tired of being jerked around. I don't
Yeah.
know how much of it is real or how much of it is feelings or
There
whatever, but
has to be some room because he was about every time I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen him 4 or 5 times, and he was always about that life at the
yeah,
Comic Con. So there has
yeah.
to be a reason why. If it's someone who appeared to love it, you never know what's going on behind the scenes, obviously. But someone who appears to love it so much, and for you to walk away from the project like this and not be involved, there has to be a lot of things going
A
on.
lot of promises and
Of course,
you know.
of course.
One last thing I loved, and then we'll let you guys go, is when little Yellow Ranger, Trini's daughter, and Aisha like takes her hand and says like it's an honor to pass the legacy to you.
Yeah.
Because like it's easy to have all these actors here. Because Chris, I've seen it in other reunions where they're all there, but it's not them, and
Right.
it's not them in the suits, and we're not even going to pretend like it's them in the suits.
Right.
And it doesn't really make sense because all these Rangers have all worn different suits, and there's one big battle where they all showed up. So I'm like, is there two Adams? This doesn't make any sense. You can't just grab all the Japanese footage and make it
Right.
make. So here it was nice, like we acknowledged she was a Yellow Ranger, and then there's a nice one where you see Adam and Zach hug, like a moment of
Yes.
these are our black. Just giving us, and you don't got to say it, but just giving us moments as fans to go, thank you.
Yes.
Because I
Absolutely.
had a problem with you, Adam, for a long time.
Yep.
Sick martial artist, amazing actor, great voice actor. He's like on every freaking anime.
Huh.
But where's my hip hop keto? where's my body roll?
Yeah.
But it was just dope getting that nod. So that's it, man. I loved it. I'm not even gonna rate it. I can't even give this a
No,
grade.
no. I'm just grateful it exists. Leave it
Yes,
like that.
I smiled. I must have been in a cheeseburger smile from start to finish.
Yep.
Just like they're making stuff for me. They're
Yeah.
making stuff like for us. This is for
Absolutely.
us.
Absolutely it is. Absolutely it
Such a good time to be 40.
is.
This is 40-year-olds is making all the stuff they love, and all the stuff they love and the stuff we love.
That's it. It's true. It's true.
Man. Well, that's our show. Thank y'all for letting us wax poetic for almost as long as the actual episode
Yep.
was. You can catch us here. We got links in the description. We got a podcast. We got social media. Hit the playlist. We got other reviews, toy unboxings, toy hunts. We got it all. Also got a podcast. Check that out. We'll be back. Same Morphin time.
Same Morphin channel.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Three Brothers and a Shot of Milk.